reaction, whether he is allowed or he should get an approval from the state before he flies out of the country. So that is what's making on the front page of the Star newspaper. And still there, One Kenya Alliance trio leaves the door open for reunion with Raila as they exit NASA. They formally written to the Registrar of Political Parties yesterday, who gave them a green light to exit NASA. And according to them, the marriage is over. The marriage is over. And that is what's making on the front page of the Star. Now, there's a story here. Kenya to import 3 vaccines to beat Delta. Now, a man says that state has ordered Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson jabs. The Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine currently being used in Kenya is effective against the highly virulent Delta strain after 2 doses, the World Health Organization said on a new advisory. Now, the strain is currently driving the 4th wave in Kenya, which has led to more hospitalizations and deaths. So that is what also making on the Star. But there is some good news here for lactating mothers. The government says that lactating mothers can take AstraZeneca jab. Now, having a baby comes with its own share of stress and uncertainty, and even worse when you have to deal with pandemic. Now, pregnant and breastfeeding mothers were not included in any of the clinical trials for COVID-19 vaccines. Hence, as countries began to vaccinate eligible adults, lactating mothers, women who are also left in the dark. So in Kenya, lactating women have been turned away from vaccination posts and told the vaccine is not to be administered to breastfeeding mothers. But then now, it's now open, according to WHO, that lactating mothers can take AstraZeneca jab. Some good story there. I don't know what you make out of the... Jane, Doreen, Regina, have you taken the jabs?
I have. And, you know, as per the discussion that we were having yesterday about breastfeeding, there isn't research that says they shouldn't take the jab. As much as there isn't research that advises against taking the jab. So again, it's a catch-22 situation, but when it comes to medicine, it boils back to the advantages over the disadvantages. Which one outweighs the other? There's no medicine that goes without any consequences, but you just look at how the merits you stand to gain vis-a-vis the demerits that will come along with a particular vaccine or medicine, whichever it may be.
Absolutely. Regina, briefly, have you taken the jab? The first and second jab?
Now, new COVID cases in January in the country were 4,315, and the death toll was at 93. As we speak, as far as July is concerned, we have 297 deaths so far in July, and 19,052 persons, or rather new cases of COVID-19. Currently, the positivity rate stands at 15%. Yes, that is as far as I'm going. Doreen?
I have taken both the jabs.
Cheers. Now we are done. Maybe since we're still here, let's look at what we have on the front page of the Standard.
All right, yes.
Yes, we have that conversation around what has happened with NASA. So the door has been shut for NASA, and it appears that a window or a door has opened up for One Kenya. But does it have the clouds to bring the numbers? 2022 is just but around the corner there. So pictured on the front page of the Standard are the 3 former NASA principals, Musalia Mudavadi, Moses Wetangula, as well as Kalonzo Musyoka. That's a story that has been given precedence on the front page of the Standard this morning, being the 4th of August 2021, and we're talking about matters of alliances of convenience. To what end? As we are gearing up to the 2022 general elections. Remember, we're yet to also finalize, or rather ODM is yet to finalize and tell us who the flag bearer is going to be ahead of this particular, political feat. Talking about front pages and what has been highlighted, we have questions after yesterday, and even we have seen what has transpired in Parliament with some members of Parliament. They are questioning why the Deputy President was barred from visiting Uganda. And I'd want us to go down memory lane and look at Uganda's history. Jane Victor Doreen, Milton Obote, Idi Amin, and now Kaguta Yoweri Museveni. If we look at the history, we all know issues of, coup d'etats,
political injustices,
and such. So with that in mind, the header that we have on the front page of the Standard this morning is the Ruto-Museveni link. We'll be giving details as we continue the headlines. Remember, we are live and we welcome your feedback. To you, Jane.
Just to add on to that, before we get to the details, here on this particular daily, the main read revealed DP Ruto's mission in Uganda. And you have rightfully captured it, Ray, because here in Just Brief, they mention how DP Ruto is looking for a mentor who will help change the political strategy that he has, which is a do-or-die situation for him in the upcoming 2022 general elections. Because according to Sudi, they say that he is determined to hire the political advisor to Yoweri Museveni, as per what has been briefly captured here. But we'll be getting to those details in a bit. Coming to One Kenya, as three of the now former NASA coalition party chiefs have formally exited the coalition. Now they are mounting pressure on KANU party leader Gideon Moi to break ties with Jubilee officially and join the One Kenya movement. Pressure on Gideon Moi right there. And there's a very sad story that has been featured here on the front page that has been captured on the entire of page 3, and it's about incest. Now, there is a report that was done looking at the last 3 years between the periods of June of 2018 up until June of 2021 from the national hotline 1195, and it has emerged out of the 160 incest cases that were reported, the highest number of perpetrators were fathers. I will be starting with this particular story as we get to the details of this particular segment. But first, Doreen.
Right, just like Ray would always put it, that perhaps the scribes are reading from the same script, because on the front page of the PD, in fact, it's just a whole splash concerning what has been happening to DP Ruto. And perhaps who is this man, Aiden Harun? Oscar Sudi came out yesterday to say that he is a businessman. We have seen on mainstream as well as on social media some calling him out. Others say that perhaps he's a terrorist or allied to a terrorist group. But according to reports, he had been arrested in Frankfurt, Germany in October 2001 on charges of having planned serious acts of violence as a member of a terrorist group with an Islamic fundamentalist background. So mystery of the Turkish man in Ruto team, that is what I'll be telling you about in just a short while, perhaps who this man is and what it means for the DP there. Still sticking with matters politics, and this is after the divorce of NASA happened yesterday after the three party leaders, ANC, Wiper, as well as Ford Kenya, tendered their resignation there from that particular party. But even as they, from that particular outfit rather, but even as they did that, they did not close the door for negotiations with Raila. So what does this mean for these 3 or even 4 parties all together? Details of that coming in a short while. And coming to matters education, in as much as the government had said that no student or learner should be locked out, this is from attending school or classes. Where does this leave the school heads and principals, given the fact that a good number of also these students, especially Form 1s, might not have that required fees? So in terms of just perhaps what or how school heads and principals are dealing with this, are they in a dilemma? What are they supposed to do? Okay, and coming to COVID-19, experts now warn of 2 dark COVID months. So clearly, just every day from how we talk about matters COVID-19 just clearly shows that we are not yet out of the woods and we need to take all the precautionary measures. But why are experts saying that perhaps it may be a dark 2 months coming this 2 months. What does it mean, and perhaps what reasons are they drawing to come up with such conclusions? Details of that coming in a short while.
All right, so there's that story of the Deputy President foreign trips and the debacle behind it. And this is just part of the discussion we are going to have at the top of the hour. But then the story says that sources said that there was a factory which was supposed to be built here in Kenya, a biotech factory. And it has also emerged that a biotech factory commissioned recently in Uganda by President Yoweri Museveni in Ruto's presence could be at the heart of DP's latest fallout with the President Kenyatta. Now, sources said that the factory was initially supposed to be built in Kenya, and a team of investors comprising of Turkish, American, Russian, and German nationals had landed in Nairobi in February. But they were trying to pitch an idea of building a biological drugs and mRNA vaccine manufacturing factory. Now, the government insiders are also said to have frustrated the German and the officials by the bureaucratic red tape, and that is why, after they were disappointed by the ensuing events, the investors scouted for another country within the East African community and settled on Uganda. Now, this is what he says, that they then approached a businessman from Rift Valley who has close ties with Ruto to persuade the DP to link them with Museveni. Now, Ruto reportedly reached out to Museveni with the idea, which the Ugandan president is said to have accepted. A deal was secured in April, and on July 6th, Ruto landed in Uganda at Museveni's invitation for the groundbreaking ceremony of the biotech manufacturing facility in the central Ugandan district of Wakiso. So that is just an excerpt of what is happening here, and part of probably, what is bringing that hard ties between the deputy president and the state. And that is why now they say that the issue of foreign travel law dates back to post-1982 coup attempt. That is as far as that goes on. And, we don't know, we all know how the government operates. We have got NIS, DCI, and all that, the intelligence.
What I can say, Victor, where we are right now as a country, and it will go back to who we are as the media industry right now.
Yeah.
I think we are called to justice, if not to arms at this point, because we have seen the power that the media has in as far as agenda setting is concerned.
Yeah.
So when we are getting, or rather working towards the general elections, and we all know the political temperatures are quite high, I think it is our role as a media industry to debunk facts and myths, as well as getting down, because we have all read from the various dailies there, and you're seeing a lot of speculation as to why this happened and why it didn't happen the other way. But the point is, how is it affecting Wanjiku? How is it changing her perception? Because it's all about perception, and I think we are called to arms as persons who work in broadcast, because we need to really be factual, be very, very factual, because we have seen how history, and this is not history away from, us ourselves. We have the 2007, 2008 post-election violence. We even have our own neighbor here within the East African community, and that is Rwanda. The power of the media at this time is when we are called to arms. That's all I have to say in regard to, the headlines and what has been said about that particular visit or not. Because there's so much that has not been put in the public eye. There's so much, as you've said, we have the DCI, we have NIS. They'll not give us this information. It's not going to be available here in the public. But us as a media, what role are we playing? We take a breather as we ponder on that. We'll be right back.
de una forma diferente, de otro modo.
My daughter, what these people are saying is nonsense.
That is why you did it, in order to hurt my friend.
Sir, could you please get
Control
her quiet,
yourself.
please?
Excuse me, sir, but this man's arrogance is aggravating.
The best thing to do now is to go to the precinct.
Yes. And we have to investigate if it was he
who tried to poison Cipriano.
And are you also aware that Miss Cecilia tried to bribe me
into making a report stating that I treated her even without her showing up here?
No. Are you serious about getting me out of here?
Of course. It serves my interests to ensure your freedom.
Quiero amarte de una forma diferente, de otro modo, nunca igual al de otra gente.
Software injection. Fire warfare, psychological warfare.
Apollo, sinking sun. Jamaica wanna get him from
human race. Running in a human race, yeah.
Don't they know thy will will always be done?
Ay, otra vez vamos a hacerlo pues. Ay, vamos a hacerlo pues.
This is where it all began. As the mother of broadcasting in Kenya, you can trust KBC to bring you authentic news and programs to your living room. As KBC, we take pride in our unrivaled heritage as Kenya's trusted national broadcaster. Commanding over 92% digital television signal coverage of our country, 23 radio services that cut across our entire language spectrum, a national, regional and international digital presence backed by the most experienced and top-notch broadcast professionals in the industry.
A very good evening to you.
The new look Kenya Broadcasting Corporation is truly ahead of the pack. Turn to the mother of broadcasting in Kenya for stories that resonate with our identity, our aspirations as a people united in purpose. Real stories of hard work, of passion, of creativity, of big dreams. Stories that cement our nationhood. Stories that bring us together as one. We take pride in our shared heritage and destiny. KBC. Informing, educating and entertaining Kenyans as one nation. KBC. Kenya's listening. Kenya's watching.
Welcome back. Glad you are still keeping us company. In case you're just joining us, why don't you feel free to interact with us via our various communication platforms on Twitter. The hashtag you need to get on is Good Morning Kenya. At KBC Channel 1 is our official station handle. And do remember to tag us individually as well at Victor Olo, at Raymanyara, at Darina Range, and at Jane Wambo is how you can find us on the socials. Now we get back to what we have on the dailies today, and we come to the Daily Nation and we move to page 3. This is one of the stories that found its way on the front page, and it's in regards to sexual offenses that have been reported so far. And this is a report that was put together by the hotline, the national hotline 1195, looking at the periods between June of 2018 through to June of 2021, 3 years. And as per what they say, fathers make the highest number of perpetrators when it comes to incest cases that have been recorded, most of them having taken place at home, where, contrary to expectation, it's supposed to be a girl's safest space. So out of the 160 incest cases that have been reported, 59 are men, fathers rather, not men, fathers. And looking at those who came in second were uncles. Then we had, were followed by stepfathers, then cousins, then grandfathers, followed by brothers, then brothers-in-law, and finally step-brothers. Now, one of the most recent cases that was reported happened about 3 months ago, and this brought up a new challenge rather when it comes to the investigations, and this is in regards to how the tricks that they use to destroy evidence. So there was a father that was caught red-handed in an estate in Embu West, location of course withheld, and he is reported to have swallowed the condom that he used to get rid of evidence, and that put a huge hurdle in the investigations in this particular case.
Swallowed.
It's a damning report there, and well, as a man I feel embarrassed on behalf of the men folk, but you know, as they always say, we are supposed to be the sole protector, and
it's a godly ordained responsibility.
Yes, you have to protect your people, your family.
Provide.
But then now, when I feel embarrassed to speak, to say the least. Yeah.
You know, the home is supposed to be the safest space for anyone, even when you've had a long day at work. The joy you feel when you go to your home. But now looking at this report, and these are just some of the cases that have been reported, you can imagine how many others go unreported, or how many others resort to tutasoti kama familia. We'll sort this in-house, you know?
Yeah. And some of them, some reports say that some of these cases go unreported, or they resort to have the kangaroo kind of courts. You pay a goat or two, or you just resolve the way you're saying it, in-house solutions, and that's it. But the question is, do the victims get justice? Because here you have, you know,
a father, man.
Womboy,
I don't know
on that
what you
article,
guys think about this, Doreen and Ray.
did I get it right? There was a part you read that the suspect swallowed.
Yes.
Yeah.
To conceal the evidence.
Yes.
And it gets to that extent.
A father that was caught red-handed, smack in the middle.
I don't think I even have anything to say, because we've been having this conversation over and over, and especially when COVID-19 struck us as a country, it has been an ongoing conversation on end. It just does not end.
Right.
Do I speak as a mom?
A broadcaster?
You see, okay. There's something we call poetic justice. And I don't know if it is correct or proper. I'm thinking about this process and what that particular report has revealed in this particular case. So this man was found in the act, red-handed.
Yes.
But you know, facts are very stubborn. And when it comes to legal matters, it has to be irrefutable. And that's why I'll always question matters legal. Where does the humanity aspect come in when it comes to law? Because a lawyer would actually stand up and say, by the way, it is hearsay. My client was nowhere
denied
the child at that point. Because first of all, there is no
evidence there.
The person swallowed it. But I even don't want to think about how that went down, because we all know what happens when you're having constitution and you having to swallow plastic or rubber down your throat. We'll not discuss about that because that's gory details. But now I'm looking at this issue from a legal perspective. And I would want to question the lawyer, because these people have representation. And there was a case that was happening down in my village, and it was about matters of rape. Actually, it was about defilement, and mob justice was being meted out on a perpetrator. And our reporter Simon Achola was down there in Meru County, just trying to, understand what, he was following up on issues of gender-based violence. And those who are giving their opinions, they said, mtu kama huyu hafai kuishi.
Yeah, people have been having a lot of debate on what should be done to such people.
Kuishi, because you look at this, the trauma that the child has gone through. This is a scar that they cannot erase.
But you see, what, Regina?
But then the law, then comes in the law. The law, they say, is an us and does not exist in a vacuum.
And you're innocent until
you're proven
guilty. My question would be, if I was in that home, maybe as an aunt, I don't want to think if I was a mom to this child. An aunt. I'm saying an aunt because I'm kind of removed from all that. What will be going through my head?
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah. What would be going through my head at this point? How would I deal with that trauma? Anyway. I'm not the victim, but I am in that setup, that family setup. And this goes to say, Jane, the report that you also shared some time back about the cases that end up being solved kindani, kinyumbani. It's because of what even Victor has said, the embarrassment that you guys are in court discussing that Uncle so-and-so was doing XYZ to the niece, or dad so-and-so was doing X to the daughter.
That even makes it worse.
You know? So families fear coming out, and because we are not talking about it enough, we end up allowing these people go scot-free. And worse still, it's because the law is the law. There has to be evidence, and these people are getting smarter. I wish we had passed the Njoki Ndongo proposal. Do you remember that, guys? The issue of if you're caught a rapist and someone who's defiled a child, they actually get circumcised. At some point, I think it would have... actually, not circumcised, sorry, it's castrated. Castrated. Chopped off on the chopping block.
But just to cut the long story short, I think men, we should take that spiritual role that we were given. I mean, that, the way Jane said, it is our God-given and ordained role to be the protector. Because that's why, even in the battlefield, women are always at the background. Men, we are supposed to take the front line.
Yes.
And even in the front line, at any given particular place, in situations like in war-torn countries, women are always, protected by men, because we are always seen to be the sole protector of this particular universe. First of all, let me ask you, when mtoto ameshtuka kwa nyumba, do you know anakimbia wapi? Anatafuta babake. Ama unasikia nitaambia baba yangu. Because they know fathers are generally strong and they're protective and all that. It's in our instincts, in our minds. But then now, men,
they turn perpetrators.
As a man, let me just say that, guys, let's just wake up and
do better.
Let's protect these people.
Provide, prophesy.
Take up the father role.
That topples up the whole thing.
All right, so let's come to Victor before you get in.
Jen said something. Protect,
provide, and prophesy.
Prophesy is heavy.
Triple P.
All right, so let's come to matters education right now. Just try to run you through the dilemma that principals and school heads are now in, because of perhaps what the government had mentioned in regards to all learners need to be in school, whereby now secondary school head teachers have found themselves in a quagmire over the admission of students without fees as a result of the government directive that all learners and students need to be admitted for proper transition. This is for that Form 1 transition. But however, the Kenya Secondary Schools Head Association yesterday protested that some parents were taking advantage of that 100% transition, just saying that some parents are actually well able and capable to pay for these fees, the Form 1 fees, but because of what the government said, with the government directive, they're taking advantage of that and choosing to take children or students to school without having to pay fees. So where does this leave the principals and the school heads there? Really, it's just a tussle in between, but this particular article well highlights that, even as we know, obviously, that students are continuing to go to school, at least for the better part of this week. Still on matters education right now, At least vocational colleges are set to get 10 million boosts, and this is from the national government to refurbish and equip vocational and technical training institution, and this move aims to address skill needs for youth who will advance the realization of the country's vision 2030. So all in a bid to just encourage perhaps learners and students that there's nothing wrong with vocational colleges or vocational training, that perhaps not everyone really needs to go to universities. There's also vocational training in colleges. And before perhaps you go to other stories, guys, I'd love to rope you in on this one. You know, there's always that mindset and analogy that if you clear Form 4, university is the way to go. If you have to become someone or somebody, you just have to have been in an university kind of setup. We really do not have so much, if I can say, attraction to vocational facilities or even training, because we tend to think that when you maybe hawakupita exam vizuri. So when you look at what the government is doing, do you really think that perhaps at least we begin to have some love for this kind of training and even embrace it better?
Yeah.
Let me just take you back to the conversation we were having this past Monday, looking at the employability of the youth today. And one of the problems that we were actually talking about was that perception about TVET courses. And as per data that my guest was sharing, as per data that was put together in 2019 from the census, majority of the youth are actually employed in the informal sector. And looking at this sector, most of them stem from the TVET courses, about 15 million. But the problem still remains the mindset. Wanafikiria some of these jobs are not as glamorous as they would be. Because I mean, no one grows up, mzazi wake anamwambia, why can't you become a plumber? You know, why can't you become an electrician? It's always, why can't you become
a doctor, a lawyer?
Why can't you become agake? And that's something that has been so enculturated in us. It's so deep-seated that it's hard for most youth to just shift from that. That's why you find so many of them struggling to find a job. And yet, if they would rather just look at some of these TVET courses and take them. Most of them are quite short. You can go, get done, be done, and get a job in less than 6 months. As per what stats actually noted, those that come from TVET courses, they average around 6 months to get a job, as opposed to those that go through the 2, 3 year or 4 year courses. And then the other thing is about soft skills that so many of us lack, that we are not taught from a younger age. Wanasemanga samaki mkunje angali mbichi. Akishakuwa mzima tavunjika ukijaribu kumkunja.
Hakunjiki tena.
Yeah, absolutely. This one is briefly in terms of business, and I know Regina will be in a better position to answer this. Regina, you took part in the wildlife census, and the CS now says that wildlife census result will be out in 10 days. The exercise, which cost 250 million Kenya shillings, was fully funded by the government. So Kenya is set to have accurate data on the population of her wildlife in 10 days. The CS for tourism, that is Najib Balala, said that the technical team is working on the report detailing the numbers. The CS, however, said that he does not want to speculate on the numbers, but on June 5th, the census was 98% complete. Regina, you took part in this particular exercise on the first day that it started. What can you say from basically what you saw there? Is it promising as compared to other years?
Well, what I can tell you, Victor, during this particular census, when I was down in Amboseli there, we were focusing on, you know, the population of the African elephant down in Amboseli. And we are in the media industry, and I don't know if you're familiar with Team and Echo. These are elephants that are featured in documentaries and films over the year.
Yes.
There was a facility, actually it's called an elephant institution. It's actually, it documents all the elephants we have had for the last over almost 100 years.
Yeah.
And what was very interesting is that this documentation of these particular elephants is by family.
Yeah.
So if they are alphabetic. If we have the Doreen family, and you get a child,
so there's a lineage of the family.
They will be named Daisy.
Yeah.
Then Daisy will have another Dira. That is D. Then the Regina family, like, so it was beautiful. And it's good for us to know, just take stock of what we have in as far as our wildlife is concerned, because it's also going to help in wildlife conservation. And I interacted there with the technical team. It is quite beautiful. What I didn't know, and I'd want to share here as a point of information, is that anyone who knew how to reverse the aging process of the elephant when it comes to their teeth, these animals would live for a lifetime. Why? As they lose their teeth as they grow, and they have 6 sets of teeth. The older they become, they come from the jaw up. So once they get to the last set of teeth, they can't feed no more, so they die off. That is something that you guys need to know. So there's a film, or rather there's a documentary that we are preparing from the news desk. It's going to be ready on August the 12th, which is also going to be the International Elephants Day. And we're expecting the president down there in Amboseli to actually kick off that and receive that particular report in as far as the elephant naming is concerned. So you can have an elephant named Jane or Victor or Regina or Doreen. It's actually open to any Kenyan. You can support with as little as 3,000 bob to just help conservation issues and, preserve our wildlife. Yes, Jane?
So from a point of information, once again, and clarification, you can get an elephant named after you.
Yes.
At a cost.
Yes.
You too.
Yes.
So I can have several Wambois.
Yes, you can have Wambois, because what happens is you can have Wamboi. you can have Wamboi, or rather an elephant named after you, Wamboi. So it means whatever little you get to spend, or rather to spare, you support the conservation. It's feeding. You see, we have an anti-poaching rule in the country, and we have been seeing, like in Amboseli, for the last 20 years, they have not recorded not even one case of poaching. That is an achievement.
That's an achievement.
A great achievement. And the difference between the Amboseli National Reserve and, the Tsavo and the likes is that elephants in this particular reserve are huge, bigger. I can challenge you today after the show. You can go look up Tim the elephant or Echo the elephant. They have been featured in documentaries, and you can see their distinct features. And also on another point of view is Wamboi can actually be belonging to Doreen's family, and these elephants know each other. That if this is family, Doreen's family, they can tell that this particular hoot or trumpet, actually it's a trumpet, is from Wamboi's family.
They say
that's how unique. That's how unique elephants are.
In fact, they say that elephants have the best memory.
Yes, they do. And also, what you need to know is that elephants cannot coexist with bees.
If you want to control them. So, if there's one named Olo, and it's misbehaving, we will know
why do you have to use an example?
But because it's beautiful. I mean, all in a bid to just.
So we just come with these. Olo, kwa ile kona na misbehave.
Yes.
Control.
Yes.
All right. It will be interesting. And by the way, as Regina said, there is a documentary coming up right here on KBC. You can look out on that. And Regina, still on business. I'm still on your case. Kenyans pay more taxes on fuel than regional peers. That is according to EPRA. And just briefly, Kenyans are paying higher taxes on petroleum products compared to their peers. That's according to official data from the EPRA. Now, data by Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority shows taxes and levies on super petrol as of July totaled to 58 shillings and 1 cent per litre. Now, Ugandans pay 44 shillings and 38 shillings a litre on the product, while Tanzania pays 41.73 cents a litre. From the business perspective, briefly in 1 minute, I'm being told that tunamaliza. Situation here.
Let me give it to you at this point. Kenya uses what we refer to.
Kenyans have money.
Oh, okay.
So they are willing to pay.
Run broke. That's all I say.
Not really. It depends on what form of crude or oil that we're using. Kenya uses Mobane, right? And at this point, I don't know what Tanzania or Uganda uses. And I'd want to take you back to January to date. We have been seeing, whenever it is the 14th of every month, the prices of fuel have been on an upward trajectory, with the exception of 2 months when it just remained the same. There are people who are called independent oil marketers.
Yes.
Right? These people are the people who earn in the middle of the value chain. So in the latest, one of the two months back, there was a conversation with government promising them that you will recoup in the next month, because they're the ones who carried the huge weight when it comes to fuel prices. So for Kenya, there are people in the value chain who are earning in between there that is making this cost of fuel go up. Because if you look at right now, OPEC is planning, OPEC Plus, the cartel is planning to increase its production because there's been more uptake with this vaccination, COVID-19 vaccination, and the ease of travel restrictions. But it will take several months for Kenya to actually feel, the changes in the global oil prices. Remember, we do not buy fuel today. We do not buy fuel today, or rather it is not exported in a day. It can take up to 3 months. So with those cost implications, but unfortunately, even when the 3 months lapse and there is an oversupply of this particular crude, it does not usually translate to our pockets. That's where the question is. What are these other levies in the cost of fuel that are affecting the cost at the pump? And the sad irony, or rather the sad fact of this is, if you increase the cost of fuel, you have increased the cost of living for Kenyans. But the question is, Regina, is driven by that. The question is there hope for this country? Because anytime we have a review, we'll always have that upward trajectory. It always goes up. Do we have, and by the way, we have got that question just to you. Do we have that hope for the country? Well, this was a conversation that was being held in Parliament with some parliamentarians trying to put EPRA, on the spot, to just want to find out, why does Uganda buy this particular commodity at 80 shillings? Yet it is landlocked and this passes through our country. Why are we doing 127 at the pump? That's a question that we get to understand, and we get to hear from EPRA themselves. So we'll wait to see. But I think that those people, the levies, as well as the people who are there in the middle, who are enjoying, the fact that you cannot do without fuel. Brokers, Tuwaite, aka brokers. Actually, not brokers. They are independent oil marketers. Language. They are independent oil marketers, aka brokers.
No, in simple Kenyan language, Kenyan town.
Now, with that, we've come to the end of this particular segment in the headlines, but we do welcome you to be part of the conversations that are coming up after this quick breather. Talk to us using the hashtag Good Morning Kenya. We will be right back.
Injection, biowarfare, psychological warfare.
Apollo, sinking sun. Jamaica wanna get him from human race, running in a human race.
Don't they know thy will always be done?
Ay, otra vez vamos a hacerlo.
What does this number mean to you? A pack leader? A winner? Or just a number? To us, it means freshness, boldness, vibrancy, and heritage. That's why at KBC Channel 1, we make it easier for you to pop up your family entertainment to a fresh, exciting, and colorful bouquet.
Here at Hermosa Gardens.
All right, and we've just turned pages. Now, let's talk about what's happening today on The Viewpoint. Let's talk about matters affecting this particular country. And a lot is happening politically. As I always say, the political drums are already being sounded. And the right person to help us talk about this is the governor, that is always here with us. Thank you for coming to the show.
Asante.
Thank you. Before we move any further, let's just play this clip of Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka yesterday talking about NASA already dead and the way forward. If you get that clip, let's go ahead.
He gathered here at Hermosa Gardens Hotel. Last stroke that broke the back of NASA, the political party on close to victory in the 2017 general election. According to the NASA agreement, the coalition stands dissolved. F3 affiliate parties leave. The now former principals of NASA saying they made the decision to be free to forge a new path to victory in 2022 general election. Speaking after a joint parliamentary group meeting, the leaders said all instruments giving effect to the decision has been processed by each party in accordance with their respective party constitutions.
Having removed the clutches of NASA from our hands, we now can freely engage and actualize legally the existence of One Kenya Alliance.
That it will no longer be news if you're coming to ask us about NASA. It is behind us. Let us now look at new formations, new reorganizations, the way the parties here, and remember, One Kenya is not a closed shop.
Ijulikane na wananchi wote wa Kenya na hata marafiki zetu duniani kote kwamba muungano wa One Kenya Alliance tuko imara, tuko tayari.
The three allude to mistrust they allegedly blamed on Raila Odinga-led ODM.
Through what our statement described as a trust deficit, bedeviled by machinations and selfish maneuvers by some of our members.
They said Okoa Kenya Alliance is open to working with like-minded individuals and parties.
We know that we need to form a political colossus ambayo ushindi utadhihirika wazi.
And you will be seeing this team and those who are going to join us, and there are many, striving across the country to give Kenyans a new direction in terms of how this country moves on.
Other parties that formed the coalition, including Raila Odinga's Orange Democratic Movement and Isaac Ruto's Chama cha Mashinani, ODM on Thursday last week announced its decision to exit the coalition, but is yet to formally notify the Registrar of Political Parties. CCM has not officially made any comments regarding the exodus.
All right, so that is what happened yesterday. And the three Oka, that is One Kenya Alliance principals, said that they have already divorced from the NASA coalition. Mheshimiwa Kabogo, the issue of trust, they have talked about mistrust in politics. Let me just put it this way. Do you trust yourselves as politicians?
Well, there's a big difference between politicians and leaders.
Yes.
These are politicians. And this is what they do every 5 years.
And you're a leader?
I'm a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Politicians think about the next general election.
Right.
Leaders think about the next generation. Some of these guys have been quiet and lost in oblivion somewhere for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Now that there is sight of election soon, now they start running around and forming teams. Some of them, what support do they have? Why is it that we always wait? Where has Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka been the last 5 years? The new coalition without Tinga, it's something to watch. I would want to imagine that they can put together 3 million votes. Tinga, Ruto, Axis, these are the people to watch.
Yeah.
and of course myself. Because
are you the third force?
I think I am part of the third force. This country requires new blood. The guys who you see running up and down now are the same people we know, the same people who've been there. If it's not 1963, it's 1997. Until today. When is it that we will resonate with the movement of development, economic growth in our country? Just a few minutes ago, you were talking about why would we be buying fuel 127 shillings while Uganda is buying at 90 bob. Yet the fuel that goes to Uganda goes through Kenya.
Highway.
Yes, from Mombasa all the way. Why is it that the cost of money is so expensive in this country? It's because we cannot match what we borrow and what we pay and how we use our money. The most expensive place to do tarmac, 1 kilometer, in the whole world
is Kenya.
Kenya. More expensive than Canada. To do a kilometer of tarmac here, you know, standard 9 or 12 meter road is approximately 85 million shillings a kilometer. And the same size of road in Canada will be something like 56 million shillings. Why would it be so expensive? You know? The same people who've been in leadership are the same people we keep juggling. You know, the same monkey, the same forest, but we expect different results. So it's time that Kenyans need to get serious, because it's Kenyans who elect us. You would make this mistake every 5 years.
Exactly.
And then you continue complaining for another 5 years. So when is it that Kenyans will learn that let's do elections and bring into leadership people of integrity, people who can move this country to the next generation, to the next level. And then this is not rocket science. From where I come from, they keep saying, no, we have been used like voting machines. This is how we will vote because we have to punish someone. And we forget that that vote that you put in the box is what makes you have a good country.
And that
when is it that Kenyans will translate that vote into good leadership?
Yes. Right. And that brings me to the next question. Mount Kenya, as at 2017 election, had 4.4 million registered voters.
We have about 5 million now.
Exactly. We had to see that revised voter registration register, whether it's gone up or it's above.
Of course, it should have gone up.
But then we come to realize that Mount Kenya is now on the focal point, away from Western. Initially, people used to run to Western Kenya. Why is Mount Kenya so much in the interest for the politicians? From your own understanding,
because people believe that votes are now available. It's the hunting field right now. If you look at the Honorable Deputy President, he's always there. Of late, the Honorable Mudavadi is also hunting. And the simple reason is they think that because Uhuru is not running, there will be no candidate in
Mount
Kenya.
Right.
Who will be a threat. And of course 1.5 years or 1 year, 1 month is a long time in politics. And we are saying, even if we do not have a candidate by now, we need to be careful about what our interest is. Because people want to come and divide us, use the rich vote region to get a certain percentage that they will be looking for. But I'll tell you this, my job as a leader from the region is to unite the region, get minds that think alike, come together, and tell our people that, you know, our strength is our numbers, and our unity is our greatest strength in terms of where we want to take the country, because no one set up organization, OKA or any other, would form government one go if the region of Mount Kenya is united and is speaking in one voice. We would have to consult.
Is it deliberate to divide Mount Kenya East and West?
It is deliberate, yes. And that's why we're saying we will resist. We will make sure that we speak in one voice. And wherever we go, that's where government is going. But it's unfortunate that people think of us otherwise. But it's numbers. Democracy is about numbers. The majority have their way, the minority have their say. In this case, we're a majority. We're the single largest voting bloc.
But does it worry you?
And in this coming election, what's going to happen, my prediction, never wrong, is that there will not be a clear 50+1.
Oh, really?
In first round. It will not happen. If the numbers we see now and the coalitions we see forming now, if, for example, Raila Odinga does not go with OKA, William Ruto goes in, OKA has a candidate, Raila Odinga has a candidate, we have a candidate from the region, you cannot get a straight 50+1. You will not manage to, you need 24. You need to be able to get 25% in 24 counties. That is an impossible task with such divisions. So what will happen is the first two will have a rerun, which will just require simple majority.
Simple majority.
Yes.
Right.
And if, for example, Kabogo is a candidate, and I happen to be number 2, and we go in, 2 of us, it will be a clear win, because you need only 50+1, 50 of what is voted, not registered.
Yes.
If we have 3 million votes cast on that day, then you have 1,501.
That's it.
That's it.
Is that the game plan for the front runners?
That would be the game plan as I see it today.
Right.
Yes.
What is the biggest threat in terms of Mount Kenya? Because somebody say that Mount Kenya has always been in government all years through. Does this worry you as leaders from the region?
I do not think that Mount Kenya has always been in government.
Right.
We had 24 years of Moi rule. I don't think Mount Kenya was in government then. And what is important is not to think about a region being in government.
Right.
How will the country be governed in a manner that helps the entire nation without thinking about where one comes from? And I'll tell you, for Mount Kenya, right now we're in government, or we are a government, or the president is from our region. Does it mean we don't have people going hungry in Mount Kenya?
They are.
Does it mean we do not have an employment rate, very high unemployment rates in Kenya?
Right.
We're actually the ones that suffer most. So time will come when Kenyans stop thinking about tumetoka wapi, kiti ni yetu. And I always ask in Swahili, because it's best asked in Swahili, ni nani ataenda nyumbani leo apate unga umeletwa zaidi hapo Mount Kenya kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Rais ni mkaaji ama ni mtu ametoka Mount Kenya. Who will go to Kisumu tonight and get an extra piece of fish because Raila is in government? This is the thinking that has been put in our people, that we must think hiyo ni yetu, but it's never yours. No, ni huyo na familia yake. Never ours. It is the president and his family. He earns his salary. And he should not be in office to favor his own family, to favor his own region, to favor his own community. It is the Republic of Kenya.
Yes.
When is it that we will start thinking that way? And that's the dilemma that I find myself in as a person who is thinking about how do we make Kenya a middle-class economy.
And that is the dilemma that is facing the Jubilee government right now.
And you will see recently there was something that they were calling Kazi Mtaani. I don't know whether you remember something like that.
Right.
And we had graduates, engineers,
who are in the trenches,
doctors at the trenches. And that is something to be proud about. That you have taken your child to school, sold almost everything that is under your name, to take that child to school to become an engineer or a doctor, and yet they cannot find a job. They get a job for 450 shillings to sweep the streets. We cannot be proud as a country. When is it that we will be able to engage all these idle young men and women?
Exactly.
They will not be young forever.
Time is catching up.
Time is catching up when they will get to the streets and say enough is enough. And then the war then will not be tribal. It will be between the haves and the have-nots.
Let me bring this aspect here. It seems that it's now enough is enough for the Jubilee administration and the Jubilee party. And perhaps, are you privy with the information that is going out? Jubilee is starting to sweep and clean its house. The embarrassment which was in Kiambaa was perhaps a bitter pill to swallow.
One, I'm not a member of Jubilee.
Right.
I was thrown out of Jubilee during the last election.
Right.
So, and I became the president of the independent candidates.
Right.
But what's happening in Jubilee happens every 5 years. We start new parties every time there is change of regime. Or when there is change of guard at the Hill.
Yeah.
You remember Mwenge. It came in to remove Moi. After that, it was Kibaki's time to leave. And this is how we made TNA URP.
Yeah.
It is now time for Uhuru Kenyatta to leave. And you can see the division. It's there. It's a fact. When will we get to a situation where we will have parties like, the American Republicans and Democrats, so that it is a matter of ideologies, it's a matter of principle. Although America is going the other way, they are trying to start looking at us as a bench-making place where you do bad politics. But it is because we only think about winning. We only think about who is going to go there.
Yeah.
Why is Jubilee in the situation it finds itself in?
Yeah, that's the question.
It's simply because they do not know where to go next. What's their plan? What's their plan? What is Jubilee's plan?
Yeah.
What is Uhuru Kenyatta's plan? Nobody seems to understand. Nobody seems to know. Yeah, and then you will find people saying, no, Uhuru Kenyatta doesn't want to leave office. He has no choice. He has to leave office. The Katiba we have says a maximum of two terms. So where are these people getting this notion that Uhuru doesn't want to leave?
And by the way,
But we are a country that is fed with a lot of propaganda. And propaganda in Kenya it takes center stage.
Perhaps, Governor, you are the right person I should ask this question. Kiambaa is in Kiambu County.
Yes.
And you are the governor of Kiambu County. You know the terrain.
Yes.
You know the topography of that particular region as it is, in and out.
To be honest, what is there is just protest.
What is happening?
It's just protest. They say, we want to teach Uhuru Kenyatta a lesson. And
is that so?
And I ask myself, how do you teach him a lesson by just voting someone who is not in his party? What lesson did he learn? What lesson did Uhuru learn in Juja?
Yeah.
Yes. He continues to do his job as people continue to suffer. When is it that we will turn our mentality and vote because we want work done? Of course, Kenyans, what happens to Kenyans when they say someone is being terrorized, so to speak, or is government is on his case. Kenyans tend to follow that side.
Yeah.
If we have a by-election, touch wood, I don't want anyone to die, and I have a party, my own, and I put in a candidate, you will not see the same things you saw in Kiambaa. It will be something else altogether.
Yeah.
So anyone who is celebrating that, Mount Kenya is available, and it's up for me only, you'll be shocked.
Mount Kenya is not available?
You will be shocked.
What's the game plan as leaders from the mountain?
Is to put our people together so that we have bargain.
Yeah.
So that we have a stake in making Kenya what it ought to be, not in bringing goodies home. My theory about what needs to happen in Kenya is not regional. It's about national. How is it that we can improve the lives of Kenyans?
Yeah.
How is it that we can make it a middle economy? How is it that we can, eliminate unemployment in terms of white, blue-collar jobs?
Yeah.
When is it that we can make Kenya a working nation? We are talking about theft of 2 billion shillings a day.
A day.
When is it that we will, cut corruption with 70%, because you cannot eliminate corruption.
Yeah.
But you can cut it down. If we were to cut corruption down by 50%, that would mean a saving of 1 billion shillings every day. Why wouldn't our fuel be cheaper? Why wouldn't medicine be available? Why wouldn't we have revolving loan funds run at every ward level to give employment to these young men and women who are jobless?
Mheshimiwa, we have 1 year and 5 days exactly to an election, and President,
it's like 100 years. That's a very long time in politics.
For politicians, that's like 1 billion years. Let me just extend it.
Anyone celebrating right now that you have a clear win, you will be shocked.
What is now left for President Uhuru Kenyatta as the president of this republic to bring?
I would not worry about the next president. I would worry how peaceful will Kenya be after my regime. How will the economy be after my regime? He still has 365 days that he would do something to make this country a better place.
370 days.
Yes, but if he imagines that he would want to influence what happens next, then he will lose the ball. He needs to keep his eye on the ball, and his eye is, what are we going to do about COVID-19? I just had this morning someone telling me they had gone to some function in Kajiado, someplace, and this person lost an uncle and 7 other relatives in a span of 1 week.
The same thing happened in Kiambu County, where father, mother, and husband, and daughter-in-law.
And what is it we are doing as a country?
Right.
Why can't we now divert our attention from all the shenanigans about politics, from development expenditure that is, tarmac versus life? We need to make these choices today. What is it that government can do? What is Parliament doing today? You know what makes me really sick is you will find MPs who are running around the country saying how they will improve the economy after next election and how people will not be overtaxed. Yet it is them who tax us. Taxation is done at Parliament.
Right.
It is not the president that taxes the country. The president's minister gives a proposal on the proposed government expenditure for the following year and how that expenditure will be made. How will they raise funding for that expenditure? If that funding part of it is taxation, it goes through Parliament. And if they want to make changes, they can call, Muturi can call Parliament now and say enough is enough.
Reviews.
Let's close these expenses. Let's stop this, even if it's development. Let's now cater for Kenyans' lives. And we get the whole country vaccinated. You can see America is 84% vaccinated. Out of 47 million, we have only 1 million vaccinated. And you can see the wrath of this Delta
and that's a big danger.
It is a big danger. But our MPs don't care. No. When you see us going to these rallies and doing all these things, all those guys on the high table, on the dais, are vaccinated. But the entire Mwananchi, all that crowd, maybe 1%.
Does that worry you?
It worries me, yes. That's why you saw when we were in Mount Kenya, I said, I will not participate in any meeting that is not COVID compliant. And that's why you saw all those tents had seats well spaced. Everyone had to have a mask. In every table, at every 3 meters was a sanitizer. If we all do that, we will not super spread the disease. So when you take this disease to a shosho in a village, they cannot afford masks. They can barely afford a meal. And what's government doing at this point in time?
500 shillings.
Yes, and also, of course, feeding people who are hungry. We are told that 1.9 million people lost jobs in the last 18 months. So what are they eating, this 1.9 million people? And assume every job holder has 6 people in the family. So you would put 1.9 by 6. That's the number of people who are going hungry. While we are worried about the next general election.
You are a leader of this country, and you've been traversing this particular nation from end to end. What is the mood on the ground right now?
The mood of the people is they are upset. People are sick and tired of this government, but they don't understand. It is not this government. This has been the trend from 1963.
So it is not this particular government that they should be blaming.
They will get another one and start complaining the following day.
So how do we change the perception then? Because
by kicking out these fellows, new change, new blood. Let's try it again. Let's try afresh. That's all we need. You cannot have the same monkeys in the same forest.
Is that why you want to be the president?
Yes, that's why I want to be president. And things will change. I did it in Canberra. It worked. It could happen again in this country. We can put a stop to this shenanigans. But now, Uhuru is bad, Ruto is good. When did that happen? You tell me. When did that happen? Who decided? When is it they split and one became better than the other? If this government has succeeded, it is both of them. If they have failed, it is both of them.
Could stop here.
Yes, it is them. One is the president, one is the deputy president. But because there is a problem now in the last 3 years, now we start saying, oh, we think this one will be better. They are the same people.
The humiliation we've seen in all over the papers, we have got the Daily Nation
about the airport
and the Star here, route of foreign trips must be approved and all that.
That's a little bit tricky. One, it is a very sad story. Because that is the office of the president. That is the presidency.
And it's exposed
that is the presidency. I do not understand under what circumstances, so I may be limited in what I say, but it is not a good image. It doesn't give us a good picture as a country. Probably some of these things are things that should never ever happen, because it gives us an image of a rogue nation, of a nation that is not together, of a nation that has the top leaders fighting. What would it have taken for William Ruto, His Excellency, the Deputy President, to make a call to Kenya and say, I will be leaving the country tomorrow? So make sure it's known at the airport that I'll be leaving. I am imagining, I don't know the circumstances, but it is a sad story. It should never ever happen. Of course, people have to flex muscle. Because if you're my deputy and you do not toe the line, then I need to find a way of dealing with you. And if you're my boss and you're not friendly, I also need to know how to deal with you. So these are the things that we are seeing. And at the end of the day, when the elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers.
And this
so we are the grass that is suffering here.
It exposes the soft, you know, the cracks in between the president and his deputy. This perhaps is not good for the country.
We probably need to take all of them home, including my friend Tia. So we have a fresh beginning. We tried. Nothing's going to happen. Kenya is going to be there. This is what gives me hope. Kenya is going to be there after these people, after us. It will be there. It is the Kenyan population that should decide what do they want with their country.
But do we ever learn as a nation?
We never learn, because during elections, like what you saw in Canberra, money was everywhere. And people put their vote. They forgot that that money will go with the elections.
But perhaps, Mheshimiwa,
it's not there anymore.
That's how you politicians condition our minds.
Yeah, but you know, politicians don't live in a vacuum. They live where people live. It is the tabia. It is the tabia of the people. We have trained our people's minds to think that way. When is it that a man with a good idea will find himself in parliament by selling his good idea, by talking to people? It will never happen. And that's why you continue getting the leadership that we have. You keep asking, where did so-and-so come from to be governor? Where did so-and-so come from to be governor of the city? Alitoka wapi? It is from the votes of the people. And you know, people keep saying, no, God will give us a leader. God does not give leaders. You know, God never puts his, God doesn't vote, right?
Go there and campaign.
God does not vote. You pray for bad leadership, God gives it to you. That's what the Bible says. He gives us the wishes of our hearts.
Yes.
So if we desire bad leadership like Hitler, like Idi Amin, he will give you Idi Amin. You dance in, you sleep in the bed that you make. So we are the people that make this bed. We sleep on it. We are about to make a new mistake another 1 year from now.
As it is, gloves are literally off.
They're off.
And everybody is now punching where he or she can find that soft spot.
What we need to tell the Kenyan population is that let's realize that it is us that is the problem. It is not these guys.
Yeah.
We are the ones who elect them. When is it that we'll say no to that kind of election? When is it that we will look and say, if we elect so and so, this person will take us to the next level? When is it that we'll be able to hold these people to be responsible for what it is that they do? Yes. But they start now selling propaganda left, right, and center. It is them, it is them, it is them. We are caught in between, and we put the vote as they direct us.
Yeah.
Only after 3 months we start crying.
Let me come back to you.
How many times have we recalled an MP? And yet there is a clause in the Constitution of recall. When is it we tried?
Mheshimiwa, I hope it's not too late to ask you this question. Do you feel that the Kiambu people betrayed you in the last election?
They betrayed themselves.
No.
They wanted to punish me.
Did they?
They said, how? Do I look punished? I was there to work.
Do you miss that office?
I miss the things that we would have done. Of course, now they say afadhali, because they've seen the difference between what they did and what we were doing, or what is going on now and what was going on then.
Yeah.
Probably if we were there now, Kiambu would be probably the first county to be self-reliant in terms of finances. I was sure that, almost 100% sure that would have raised 80% of our revenues locally, because you know we moved revenues in 1.5 years from 700 million a year to 2.7 billion. If that trend had continued, probably another 3 or 4 years, Kiambu, just like Kano in Nigeria, would have managed to finance its own development and probably become a donor to other lesser fortunate counties. But that didn't happen. But it's still not lost.
Yeah,
There's still, not lost. We've lost a lot of time.
Yeah.
But all is not lost.
All is not lost.
Yes. If we can get good leadership at the county levels, and stop, you know, the biggest problem in this country is corruption. If that could be minimized at the county level, this country's growth would go up to 18% a year.
Talk of counties, and now let's talk about devolution. We are in a complete new era of dispensation and what have you. Being the first governor of Kiambu, what's your take on devolution to this end?
The best thing that would ever have happened in this country is devolution.
Yeah.
Again, its only problem is devolved corruption. We remove corruption from Nairobi and take it to the counties. If corruption can be dealt with at the national level and at the county level, half of the money that is in society would be twice as it is. Meaning if you had 10 kilometers of tarmac, you would have 20. If you have probably $1 billion shillings in terms of loans to young men and women who do not have collateral to borrow in the money market, you would have 2.5 billion instead of 1. So growth will be twice what it is today. And this is something we should be proud of, because we gave ourselves this in Katiba 2010. All we need to do is improve on it. But you will find people who think that devolution is not working, should be killed, and we take back money to Nairobi. These are the thugs that want to continue raping stealing from this country.
Absolutely.
Yes. And it doesn't mean that, that there's a cry, no, let's not take money to the counties because these people will continue stealing. Do not elect thieves. You understand? Do not elect thieves. You cannot tell us not to take money to devolution because it is going to smaller kings and thieves. Do not elect them. Elect responsible people.
Tells me that
improve our laws so that we're able to curtail corruption and we're able to see it as it happens. The president or the deputy president or the governor doesn't go to the bank to steal. There are clerks in their offices. There are people who process documents. These people are involved in corruption.
And as we come to an end, Mheshimiwa, is devolution a form of bottom-up model?
People just want to use big names of bottom, down, side.
Is that what we're talking about?
That's what people want us to believe.
Yeah.
Joe Biden came in with his vice president on the same argument of bottom up.
Yeah.
Devolution is bottom up. It is from down at the very bottom of society. Take the resources there and let the people grow from there. There is no science, there's no rocket science on bottom up. There's no rocket science at all. It is take it to the people. Let it be there. The first thing we give ourselves is the capacity to decide for ourselves what is important. And that is the core thing about devolution. Participation of the people. So it is the people who are deciding what it is that is important for them. What else can you call bottom? This is right from the bottom. But people want to give, technical jargon names of bottom-up approach. I saw a lawyer would not even explain what bottom-up means.
It's confusing people.
And she was really hard task to explain, but she could not. It is a simple thing. Let it start from the ground, not Nairobi.
So devolution,
it is at the village.
Technically, devolution
that's what it is. Bottom-up, yes. So what they should be saying, let us strengthen devolution. Let us finish corruption, and this country will grow.
I'm told time is up, but in just 10 seconds, where do we see you in next year? Just 1 year to go. In 20 seconds,
hopefully in the team that will take Kenya to the next level. Hopefully. If people decide they want this country to grow, we must decide in the beginning. Sit on your vote and let it take you. Let your vote take you to that place. That's what we're saying in Swahili. Jameni. Tujipange ama tupangwe. Tukipangwa tutapangika. Tukipangika na sisi tunyamaze.
Promise me you'll be back.
Na ndipo tunasema tujibebe. Yes, we must carry ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Promise me you'll be back.
I will be back.
Shika simu ukipigiwa.
Inshallah, I'll be back.
Shika simu ukipigiwa.
The
producer said that
I get like 300-400 calls a day.
But there is that particular one from Ben producer. Shika hiyo.
Sasa awe akiniandikia asubuhi anasema ndugu karibu tena.
Karibu tena.
Yes,
thank you Mheshimiwa.
Thank you.
We've been talking to former Kiambu Governor William Kabogo. We've talked a bit. I mean, the way.
But that was very short.
Time runs
Make
so
it
fast.
Longer. So that we can talk to mwananchi.
I promise I'll give
we
you.
We must tell Kenyans, musisikize hizi porojo.
Yeah.
Weka kura yako kwa makini ili ikufanyie kazi. Lakini ile 200 unachukua. Ukichukua hiyo, please shut up for the next 5 years.
And on that note, we are taking a break. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Ndio namna hiyo bana.
Fanya nini?
Hujui ulichokifanya. Hujui. Ni kwa sababu kichwa chako ndio maana mimi siwezi niko hapa. Ungenisikiza tusingepata ajali.
Kwani wataka kuwa journalist, utakuwa media personnel, photographer, sikuelewi.
Oh, yeah. Nataka kuwa hiyo.
Badi atatoroka vipi from such an institution?
Hakuna mwingine na ni wewe peke yake.
Mimi sina mtoto. Tuna vidhuli na mjeuri kama Ubadi chizi.
Safari unaletea mzaa, sio?
My name is Rosemary Warongo and I'm a wildlife folio.
The Grevy's zebra is one of Africa's most endangered animals.
In Kenya we have 2,812. How they live as families, it's just like the way we live at home.
All you need is a camera. Take a photograph.
I just take the image and drag it in the software.
Upload it onto the website and participate as a citizen scientist. This is Wildlife Warriors. And I'm Paula Cohen.
Get the VIP access to the best shows on KBC Channel 1. We have something different, something special to spice you up. Get ready for new, exciting and captivating dramas. Movies.
I love the smell.
Comedy.
I went to the Popos. Huh?
Drama.
Did he assault the Queen in my house, in my presence?
News, sports, and so much more. Do the things that make you happy on KBC Channel 1.
That second road that we are checking today, which is Jogoo Road, try to see how that road is looking like in terms of traffic flow. You can remember that earlier on there was no bit of heavy kind of traffic, especially along Juja Road, given the fact that today we are checking on two specific roads, that is Juja as well as Jogoo Road. So let's just quickly look at how Jogoo Road is perhaps looking like this morning. Try to see if at all we might need to look at alternative routes, given the fact that it is one of those busy roads, and the reason is just simple, is because along this route there's a lot of businesses, small scale as well as medium scale kind of businesses. It's just very important for me to submit to you that along various roads there are different reasons as to why there will be heavy kind of traffic. On this specific one is just the numerous kinds of businesses as well as estates along this particular route, and clearly just so as you head over to the city center right now on major parts along this route, heavy kind of traffic that has been well shown by the red and the maroon color, which is a clear indication of that. Not forgetting the fact that this route is also being used as an alternative for those coming through Likoni Road, where you get to branch off on this specific routes coming all the way via Jogoo Road as you enjoy at the Donholm roundabout heading to the other side of Mombasa Road. So this route as of now is still being used as an alternative route simply because of those ongoing constructions along Likoni, specifically on that stretch in between Lunga Lunga Drive to Jogoo Road roundabout as you head over to the city center via the city stadium roundabout. So along this particular route right now, heavy kind of gridlock there as you head over to the city center. So let's just quickly check an alternative route, and this is the Eastleigh First Avenue, and this is again specific to those that are not yet past the Makongeni police station. So where you get to branch of is along this particular route, which is at the stretch in between Jogoo and Juja Road. So this is actually the relation and the reason why we're checking these two routes this morning. So this is one of those routes that you can use as an alternative. Come straight through the Eastleigh First Avenue all the way with the same particular route. Where you get to branch off is around that intersection just around the St. Teresa's Girls High School as you enjoy to Juja Road, going all the way to the city center. Center. So if you perhaps do not want to make do with that heavy kind of traffic along Jogoo Road right this morning, especially if you're coming to the city center, the Eastleigh First Avenue is one of those routes that you can use as an alternative route. And also along this route, NMS has done an impeccable kind of work in terms of just ensuring that this road becomes passable. What they did along this route is to do away with the garbage, most especially on the sides of the road where is used by cyclists as well as pedestrians. So they've tried to do that at least to make it easy for road users along this route. Clearly the reason why it can serve as a very good alternative route this morning if at all you are coming to the city center. On that other stretch, as you leave CBD, still coming through Jogoo Road, at least not bad, moving at a very swift pace. So if at all you're coming from city center all the way through Jogoo Road, again, it's just the best time for you to do that. I mean, it's easy for you rather, and if at all you intend to come to the city center, again, still a best time to leave the city center rather, still a best time for you to do that, because on that particular stretch, no traffic, moving at a very, very swift pace. And that's how it's looking like this morning in terms of traffic at just 47 minutes past 8 a.m. That's how it's looking like around Jogoo Road.
All right, thank you, Doreen, for that one. So again, the show still continues, and let's just give it a bit of some approach. Let's talk about what has been happening, and we have got political analysts now to help us just to understand from their neutral perspective. Okay, One Kenya Alliance is here. NASA is not there anymore. That was as far as yesterday is concerned. So with me in studio, Daniel Orogo, who is a political analyst, of course, joining me in studio, and of course Amisi Mboga, who is also joining me live on via Zoom from Mombasa. And just to discuss this one, let me just start with you, Orogo.
Yeah.
It's a done deal for NASA. It's a done deal. It was a pre-election pact, and now it's all over.
Well, I think, once again, good morning, and it's a pleasure to be here this morning. There are very intricate issues that one has to consider when, we see this kind of political overtures.
Yeah.
One is the legal requirement and the political correctness. And you have been able to see that it's only 3 out of 4 political parties that have formally, written to the register of political parties to inform her about the intent to dissolve it, and thereafter the due course of the law takes its place. And one of the political parties only made that declaration out of an NDC meeting. So in that effect is that the Orange Democratic Movement has not formally written to the ORPP, but the 3 political parties have. In that agreement, actually it stipulates that, if more than 3 political parties opt out of it, then it's a done deal.
It's a done deal.
So I think the presumption is that out of that movement yesterday and out of that decision yesterday, it therefore follows that, NASA stands dissolved, legally. One of the things that also you realize is, one of the so-called big brothers of this coalition, is really hiding the cards under the table, because ODM is not really upfront in terms of a final and abrasive decision to exit NASA. One of the things also you realize is that even within One Kenya Alliance, one of the political parties,
that is KANU,
right, is not committal, to dissolving the previous, pre-election alliance they made with the Jubilee party. So I think this One Kenya Alliance is, I would say, is the way to go. One, because NASA stood moribund by some time, and they needed to have a crafting of different political alliance. And you've just hosted the former governor, and I was very keen on the, on his submissions about this. And I agree with him that as we head towards election, and I also said it here in this set, that no political parties will carry the day alone. And I think he's also just said that there is no political, we need that +1%, and we said it here. And all these political parties has to craft what is a winning alliance and has to onboard, different outfits so that it forms the basis of a coalition. It forms the basis of a winning alliance. Victor, also, as I made my submission, is that the register of political parties and in the law and in the constitution, also well stamped in the Political Parties Act, it spells out the nature of a political party. It spells out on how a national political party should have an outlook of it. And that it has to be multi-ethnic, it has to be multi-gender, it has to be, be diverse as possible. So one of the things that we are seeing, the jostling in One Kenya Alliance, and I speak for the sense that, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi has been doing the right thing. And one of the things that he has been doing is to make sure that he reaches out, out of his, Luhya Caliphate to the rest of the country. And he's been in Nyeri, and he's been, in different parts of this country, in Nyandarua, and there are different plans so that he reaches out to other people. And of course, other political parties are having a plan. That is okay for a political party that is working on crafting an alliance.
Exactly. Let me just bring in Amisi here. Amisi, it's all done. They had a pre-election pact, all the 4 NASA core principles, and now the 3 political parties, that is ANC, Ford Kenya, and Wiper, have already submitted letters to the office of the register of political parties that it's a done deal. So what's now left for ODM leader Raila Odinga?
Well, thank you for inviting me, Victor, and also the rest of Kenya. We are happy Gate is warming up a bit. We are looking at the One Kenya Alliance. Most of us, you remember last session, we said we need strong parties to contest so that we can be able to have a good choice. My suggestion was 3, up to 1, 2, 3, and any other. I can see that formation coming. So let me talk about the One Kenya Alliance. The deal is done. It's done deal. And also, ODM has also an opportunity. I was looking at their strategic movement. They also wanted NASA to be dissolved because they want to form other coalitions, other partnerships. So this will also help them right now to move even faster, to invite or to join those other formations they think will make a force. Behind the scenes, as my brother says, is 50+1. Remember, 50+1 you are in. And to get to that 50+1, you need to have a strategy to get majority of the votes in a basket to be able to get that 50+1. So I have got a feeling ODM will form partnership and coalitions with other parties, and we can see already Jubilee is on the plate. We don't know which other parties, and we have a number of parties that are outside the One Kenya Alliance, and they are yet to join the Jubilee or join ODM. So the opportunities are there. The time is running out, and I think these people will move very fast. But this is the way to go. Sorry. You remember every election there are new formations. You and I and us, we have been here now. Toward the end, we may even get more formations. There are parties that will come at the last minute. One challenge of the One Kenya Alliance is who is going to lead it. They have formed a committee, two officers from each party, to negotiate and draw a strategy of finding the flag bearer. That challenge was there in ODM, that challenge was there in NASA, and is now there. So the formation of many parties also has a challenge on who is going to be the flag bearer. I've got a feeling that if ODM came earlier into the One Kenya Alliance, the challenge would have been bigger, because we can see the fear that if Raila is there, people say, we're Mpatieni. Give that old man to finish. This one concept is one issue, but does it have to be like that? So even now, is it Kalonzo? If you use age as a factor, is it Kalonzo? Is it Mudavadi? What criteria? Is it the strength of the party? Is it the strength of the network? Is it the muscles of resources? So we're going to see a lot of drama in the next few weeks or months before the election.
Okay, let me just bring in Orogo here. It's about trust. And do you think there's a situation where Honorable Raila Odinga will now say, because we want to have another coalition, let me go to Oka?
That's been a very interesting observation, in that sense, that right now, already, One Kenya Alliance has got principles who are the front runners, who are the frontiers of, One Kenya Alliance, philosophy and its goals, minus the former premier. So, the point is, what would that has a political implications of him joining that house called One Kenya Alliance, or One Kenya Alliance moving to him. It's and you see what would really be the political implications for this. One, I have a sense that if Honorable Raila Odinga gravitate towards joining One Kenya Alliance, there will be conditions that are already put for him.
But is he ready to work with such conditions?
One of the conditions is being told is that he needs to come in as an equal brother. There is no big brother, in One Kenya Alliance. And the fear is that ODM becoming a brother that bullies people around, the big man syndrome and all these things. So that condition, I see it bringing a lot of turmoil within One Kenya Alliance. And there had been, remember what I said here, that these principles of One Kenya Alliance are having, I've learned, as students of politics that have learned from the betrayals that they have seen. And I like what Amiss is also saying, that when they are busy, one of the things that keeps on, the elephant in the room was who is probably becoming the flag bearer. What is the criteria of having the flag bearer? In terms of age, in terms of resources, in terms of even proponents are saying that we could do a scientific research to establish who is the most popular. And I think that will gravitate Mudavadi more than Kalonzo. The others are saying that then we should work on a formula in terms of seniority in age. That would favor one political principle. So one of the things that I see is that even as there is a discussion about onboarding Orange Democratic Movement, but then I think within the principles of OCA, there needs to be a discussion of who is, the potential flag bearer to run away, to be with one coalition. But also, One Kenya Alliance gravitating towards ODM, that also has got political implications. And that's what I'm saying is that ODM, there's a problem in that the statements that have been made by the proponents of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, trying to, diminish the progress of One Kenya Alliance. Tamis as a coalition that heads nowhere, as a coalition of, you remember there's time they were defined even as coalition. So I think these are some of the things that needs to be in discussion. But I can tell you for a fact that I am very certain that there is discussions that are happening in the formation of a winning alliance that would face, United Democratic
And it will not be so shocking to see them working again together. Let me just bring in Hamisi here. The question is so simple. 3 political parties have already quit NASA. ODM has not written officially to quit NASA. What do you think is happening here? What if NASA or ODM doesn't quit NASA formally? What remains?
According to the law, especially the laws that are governing the elections, NASA stands dissolved if that's the situation right now. Because 3 parties, if they move out, I think that the coalition stands officially dissolved. But one aspect, if you look at political scenarios and political strategies, The window is open. ODM still keeps that window open just in case somebody wants to come back, or somebody can change that alliance into a formidable, or what my brother said, just change the name and you carry the movement. ODM Kenya changed the names, and we had ODM and ODM Kenya. The scenarios and possibilities in Kenya are so many. One challenge I see, and my proposal is, let the three groups go on. We have UDA, you have One Kenya Alliance, and you have ODM and any other parties. Let them go on so that we can have a strong party. But the winning issue is we need a formidable. Remember, we were talking about a common enemy in this political scenario, common target. If you aim at hitting one target, then you need to combine forces. And if you don't combine forces, somebody said UDA will take the plate in the morning. So the other challenge that I see in the combination is, again, it has already been talked by my friend, but the selection, if they all decide, let's go for nomination, how is the process? Is it you're getting few delegates from this party, few delegates, and then you choose one common candidate, or strength of the party? We saw it in Kasarani. When you're joining forces, the personality who has more strings will have the day. So those are technical problems in choosing the leader, and I can see it in play. Even Mudavadi and Mheshimiwa Kalonzo, and we were not mentioning. I don't know why Weta is not coming into the picture very well, because he's part of it. But still, that challenge is there. If you close your eyes, you go to Western. I think you can pick Mheshimiwa Mudavadi. But if you close your eyes and go to the Eastern, you say Kalonzo Tosha. But still, that is not a solution unless we all agree. And this is one of the principles of leadership: give way so that you can lead together. Somebody must come down and say, "Okay, we agreed. You lead the pack. We shall be there together." I can't see that language coming out right now until we see the formation. There's a challenge.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'll just come back to you, but let me just ask you this one. Of NASA. The three principals went ahead and formed One Kenya Alliance, and we saw them pushing for the dissolution of NASA. It was a daily war until now it has come to an end. Let me ask you, was this a ploy to trap ODM leader Raila Odinga to gravitate towards them?
Yeah, no, I think it wasn't not only to politically trap him, but also to strategically, isolate him from the political discussion by that time. And I can tell you that when that was happening, in the background there was by-election that some NASA principled field candidates against ODM. You remember about that? Amin Matungu, Bonchari, this has been happening where the principals are not, they're having their own candidates against ODM, yet, they are in. It also happens, and I can even tell you that there was generally mistrust and disagreement within, the NASA coalition. Even in 2017, the luxury to have a joint nomination costed, their coalition, and you realize much of the seats, were lost. And I think this was also happening by the fact that there was a need to, strategically endear Raila Odinga on board, but not as a big brother. Also just as, as an equal partner to the coalition. There is something interesting that I would want to, point your attention to, and probably point the attentions of Kenyans to. One, you see, legally, that's what I said. Legally, this has already been initiated, but politically, it's still on action. And not until ODM, officially writes to the registrar, that is when there can be a discussion about the dissolution. I can tell you this for a fact. But be very careful, because the standing orders of the National Assembly recognizes NASA as minority.
Yeah.
Okay?
So they'll not lose their seats in parliament.
And therefore, if ODM or if ANC, Wiper and Ford Kenya, become abrasive in the dissolution of the coalition, the risk is that all the seats that they garnered out of a coalition agreement
in parliament,
both are risky that it might be declared that they are redundant and needs to be filled. And this is why I am assuming that Orange Democratic Movement is reading cleverly not to dissolve it in finality, because it means that there are members of parliament who are holding minority seats at both houses legally will risk losing those positions.
And running agenda of NASA.
And running the agenda
or even
of
to
NASA.
the interest of Honorable Raila Odinga.
Even to the interest of Honorable. And I think this is a clever ploy. Secondly, as a political science student, I can tell you that in the background of a discussion of co-opting Jubilee, and working together with Jubilee, and by the refusal of KANU to dissolve the coalition agreement Jubilee, there is an offing, there is a discussion, and that is why I am presuming that ODM is not running quick to go and officially write to the registrar and to dissolve the coalition agreement.
I can see Amisi nodding here. Amisi, perhaps you can just rope in. KANU is a bit reluctant, and even from the talks yesterday, he was not at the press conference, but Honorable Musalia Mudavadi said that the discussion was among the NASA coalition members. That is ANC, Ford Kenya, and Wiper. That is why Gideon Moi, the senator, was not in that press briefing. Would you buy this?
One of the reasons that was in the process of the last 1 or so weeks says, right now I'm in an agreement with the Jubilee, so I cannot formally form another agreement, coalition with another party until we dissolve. And you see that's a catch, because if up to the election time, they may not, KANU may not be able to join the One Kenya Alliance because of that coalition. But suppose tomorrow Jubilee formally joins ODM and KANU is still in Jubilee. Are we not seeing that actually Gideon's KANU is going to be part of the ODM Jubilee mechanism? So there are so many scenarios coming, and the challenge that I get from the statements from the big politicians is let ODM join us, but on equal basis. In politics, you don't have equal basis. You only have equity of parliament, and you bring 5. How do we divide on equal basis? Even parliament, they don't do that. So the concept of equity, and equity, you're talking about strength, you're talking about the numbers. So these are also things that the team that is calculating who will be able to be our leader, and you cannot limit ODM say come to play the same role like all of us, because the big brother came because of the strength of the party, the strength of the numbers that they have. So it is going to be very difficult for Raila to join, my perception, to join One Kenya Alliance with those kind of conditions. It must be on the plain discussion and agreement. So there is a challenge. I can see a new formation in ODM, Jubilee, KANU. These are projections. These were politicians. And then we have the One Kenya Alliance, and then I don't know, UDA, does it want, because UDA is lucky, if you join UDA, you only go to support the team that's already there. That is the challenge. 2, if Jubilee joins ODM, unless Jubilee has a candidate, then whoever joins ODM will be supporting Raila. These are some of the scenarios that we see when we read the politics.
Okay.
And it is interesting.
All right. Let me ask you, Daniel.
Yes.
We are in a situation where, in fact, we've just talked to former governor here, Honorable William Kabogo. He said that One Kenya Alliance without Raila Odinga cannot make it to an election. What do you think about that?
No, I dispute that. I dispute that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, that might be politically appealing, but the reality of our electoral processes right now requires that coalitions be, you know, based on a number of votes you can amass.
Yeah.
You see that the Honorable Raila Odinga alone, as it stands, cannot really marshal the numbers to do it, you know, as ODM. And this, Victor, you'll see a lot of unfolding things happening here.
Yeah.
That the terrain, the political terrain right now requires the co-opting of different diversities in different political, you know, numbers to marshal the numbers to do that.
Yeah.
You know, there had been a discussion about, you know, why is it Raila Odinga coming or us going to him? You know, I can tell you that the three gentlemen within One Kenya Alliance are politically engaging, are politically appealing, and are politically meeting the electorates and selling their agenda. And, you know, one of the important things right now, and what will determine this electoral outcome, is that we must also learn to avoid the mentality that we had in different elections.
Yeah.
The reality is there's a lot of Kenyans are beginning to have a new political understanding, and their political, you know, objectivity is gravitating towards, you know, reading the manifesto and voting people who are capable.
Yeah.
And I like that Honorable Kabogo has admitted that right now the discussion is actually concentrating on the revival of the economy, are concentrating on job provision, they're concentrating on integrity. And one determining factor also is that we are having over 5 million young people who for the first time are going to take their voting cards and going to cast their ballot. And this is why I'm telling you, and we've been advising these political bigwigs, please do not be and you are sinking into a mentality where you think that you will be voted purely out of you championing for multi-party democracy.
Right.
Okay, that is politically fast as I speak, because these young people who are for the first time going to vote, they are people who are not keen, for example, in reading history. They are not people who you'd easily talk to them about independence. I mean, they will tell you those that we discussed in books, but they're not politically relevant right now. They are not keen, and this is why. And I would want us sometimes again to come back and discuss the political ideologies. The understanding that UDA has tapped into the minds of these over 5 million voters, new voters, is by appealing to them that, you know, even that wheelbarrow that you're being told is not appealing to you is exactly what you need in this struggling economy, and they're buying into it. So any political leader, as much as they have placed themselves to have some history of, you know, of party democracy, history of revival of the economy, you must get out of your political cocoons and appeal to these young people who are taking votes based on what they are seeing as the current political issues right now.
Okay, gentlemen, I want us to shift gears briefly into something different. And Amisi, just to give you a minute for your closing remarks on this one. So where do you see the future of one Honorable Raila Odinga? We are getting some reports that there's something coming up shortly in part of central Janza, or we are yet to see, and in Homa Bay on Friday. He said, that's Honorable Raila Odinga, that moving forward, we'll start to see campaigns with President Uhuru Kenyatta on this side and him on this other side of the hand. So what are we likely to see moving forward? Having in mind that COVID is still here with us.
I know, but I think people are now strategizing to answer the questions that, in fact, my brother has touched, and even Honorable Musalia has touched, and also those people who are talking about bottom-up have touched. The issue is, how do we appeal to the masses? And one of the things, whoever will win will focus on, to me, must focus on devolution. Because when you touch devolution properly and you decentralize properly, resources and capabilities and engage those people on the ground, you are answering those other questions. If you put more money into the devolution and also to the levels, the jobs that will be created, the markets that will be opened, you are creating. So somebody has to frame a language that will capture the spirit of the people, like what Wheelbarrow has done, to say the young people will be able to benefit. So the way the ODM is doing is saying, why don't we go to the people to hear what do they want, so that when we formulate a formula for campaign, we say this what Nyanza requires in terms of economic development. This is what to cost wants from economic. So when you do that, you appeal and then you use the numbers to be able to campaign. I think people will be competing on those issues rather than what we are just saying about the principle. The other thing is, let's not stop at wheelbarrows will be able to change the economy. Let's go down how, what is there and what is not there, and how will this change so that it can be done. Two, we have one whole year. In politics, one day is good, but in science, again, one whole year is a long time. You can transform things. Can we see a pilot of whatever people are saying that can happen in one area, so that we say, oh, if you elect me, this is what I'm going to multiply, this is what I'm going to distribute. So I think ODM is creating a situation where they'll come out with a document and say, this is what our people want, and this is what we're going for. And then those elements of economics, those elements of social aspects, those elements of youth and gender should be combined in those in that document, so that everybody sees I'm part of it. I'm part of it. And also the input of participation. You feel like, oh, we say the youth must be there. I was in the meeting and the youth aspect is there. So you need a lot of psycho-social scientist combination of this. Is not a normal election like those others we saw. You remember during Kanu time, people had one party, and you could not say anything outside the party. So you were using the symbol. In Mombasa, there was bottle and tar. Vunja chupa washa tar. There was nothing apart from tar. When you have a lamp, you can see far. When you have a bottle, you can put milk and soda. Things have changed. Like my brother said, the generation is not that vunja chupa washa tar anymore.
Yes.
So we need to come with the catchphrase, but also examples of what can be done. We have 6 months. Let them demonstrate that actually whatever they want to say can be done. And I can see the value of combining forces so that they put their heads together. If you join Jubilee and Jubilee is still in the ruling party, demonstrate activities in the last 6 months so that you can say we're going to multiply this.
Okay. Thank you. Gentlemen, let me just, we can't afford to talk about this one. We talked about it with Honorable Kabogo here. On the front page of the Daily Nation, we have it on the Star and other local dailies. It's been running, all through for a few days now. The issue of Deputy President William Ruto being stopped at the airport for 5 hours. And now it's forming part of a debate. Orogo, what do you make of this? Is it that bad?
I think this is very unfortunate, and I also agree with the former governor talked about. When such headlines are splashed, not only in the national news headlines in this country, but also making international headlines, it portrays us as a country that is not really subjective to the international laws, that governs our protocol. It has, and this is why I said some of these decisions that we make, blunders us and paints a wrong image to this country amongst the League of Nations. It might be politically instigated in some quarters, but has got effects that are far and widespread. One, let me say that this blunder has been made on both sides. One, I see it that even as it was reported that he was kept in for 5 hours waiting clearance. I believe that it would not be a good thing to keep the second principal assistant of the president waiting. If the intentions are known, and he's been flying outside, to meet, foreign friends in private capacity. Victor, we talked about this last time here in this set.
Yes.
I mean, I'll remind you that the issue about the deputy president flying, we talked about here. And we said very well that there is protocol that has laid out in the national, security advisory protocol that the clearance needs to be done for the second in principle needs to seek clearance from the heads of state. It is legal.
Yeah.
It is legal and it's within the law. The CS, the chief administrative officers, the permanent secretaries that are flying for duties must seek clearance from the head of public service.
Yes.
Those are matters that are within the law. Now that's why I'm saying the tactical blunder and the political capital that we are getting out of this news portrays us very wrong internationally.
Yeah.
Because one, if the head of public service admitted that there was no issue about him clearing the deputy president, then it means that there are quarters within the deputy president handlers that blew the issue out of proportion and providing a political capital out of it. So as a concerned citizen, as a citizen of Republic of Kenya, the security of the deputy president is hell-bent on the national security apparatus. And therefore, as a voter, as a resident of this country, I deserve answers to know what was at stake when it comes to the security and the protocol of the deputy president.
All right.
That first of all. Secondly, on the other flip side, I said that, you see, it is important for official leaders and the leaders of this republic to be very careful on the forays that we make internationally.
Yeah.
And I said this very well. One, we have a problem with our security issues in the Horn and Great Lakes region. Just across up here in northern Ethiopia, there is war that is going on. That is Tigray region. There is massacre that is going on in that region. Instability in the region. Down here in Rwanda, the people are scampering for safety. Opposition leaders are scampering for safety. In Tanzania, opposition leaders are being held. Just in the border on the east, Somalia, there's a problem. So when we see our leaders who are conversing by leaders who their international integrity is of question, as a citizen of Republic of Kenya, as a matter who is concerned with the security of our national borders, I have to question what then is at stake with the meetings of these leaders whose integrity to rule of law, whose integrity to governance are in question, not only internationally but within the region.
Amisi, what do you make of all this? Because what is said, let me just perhaps just ask in this way, the MPs were allowed to travel after they sought that permission from the relevant authorities, from the Speaker of the National Assembly. So what now stopped Deputy President from flying?
You see, my brother has really talked about it, but let me add value that in any system, there must be the protocol that must be followed. Two, the Vice President is not new. He has been there over eight years. How has been the process? He has been moving out and said, what was the procedure? The other thing that I want to talk very quickly is you cannot be a private person if you are in that position. When you land in a place, you are the Vice President of that country. So you must carry that element, doing your private work, but also representing the country. Has the system been alerted locally, internationally, so that you are living here with security informed, and you are landing there with public foreign affairs waiting for you because you are representing the country? You could do your business, but also chip in. So because of that, there's a breakdown. There's a breakdown in the presidency in terms of the two big people. Are they communicating? What is the problem of picking a phone, ringing your boss, say, I've got something I want to do in Tanzania? If that is not done, then there's a breakdown of information. And where do you go if that is not clear? So I have a lot of reservation of not knowing exactly what happened, but still on the surface we are reading a lot of stuff. We are reading that the two principles of ours are not communicating, and that can be a problem. If anything happens, who is going to be responsible? And people who were supposed to take care didn't know that there was that kind of truth. And also the issue of stopping the big man also,
all right,
stop here until you get clearance. It's not very appealing to the rest of us, because we are misreading. All of us are saying, oh, exactly what happened. So this, when you're in this office, please play it in such a way that you don't alert and you don't invite comments from the public with different views. So there is no communication, and that is dangerous for the next six or so months if we're going to have it that way.
Just to give you a second to give your closing remarks, because moving forward, we are likely to see, the political tension starting to rise and the temperature is also starting to rise. We had exactly 1 year to go to an election. What can we do to make it peaceful, even to the politicians?
One, there is our national security apparatus should be very candid and strengthen in terms of spelling out the do's and the don'ts, that if any political leader commit, they would be answerable to the charges. Secondly, those institutions that are tasked with monitoring the conduct of electoral leaders would at least and also go and begin to sensitize not only the leaders but also the citizens of Republic of Kenya to report on the leaders that are inciting ethnic tension, that are stoking inter-ethnic animosity, so that the country would be witnessing an election that is free and fair. Lastly, and this is one area that is going to cause a lot of political tensions as we head into this. I am advocating for the Office of Registrar of Political Parties to fast track the campaign finance bill. This is a problem that if we are not going to fast track it, that is going to bring some political issues. Bribery, vote stuffing, and all these things are taking place. Inciting and buying people who are going to cause ethnic are taking place because we do not have a law that regulates what is the level and the limit of political expenditure. What then? Finally, the NCIC, the National Cohesion Integration Commission, in collaboration with the ethics and integrity, must bring up leaders who are stoking ethnic tension and take measures so that we avert any political crisis.
All right, gentlemen, I think we are stuck of time, and just to bring this discussion to a close, I think we have just to close it there. But as you correctly put it, we must be accountable. I mean, leaders, there is no better way of having campaigns, and then after an election, you have a country to govern. All right, and the people who are going to vote for you are the citizens that you are going to antagonize. For what benefit? All right. So that brings us to an end for this discussion. Thank you so much for joining us. That has been Daniel Orogo, who is a political analyst, as well as Amis Mboga, who is a political analyst and a governance expert, joining me via Zoom all the way from Mombasa. All right, that is for now on Good Morning Kenya. On behalf of the entire crew, my co-host, that is Doreen Arange, Jen Wamboy, and Regina Manyara. Thank you so much for joining us and the entire crew. Let's do this again tomorrow. My name is Victor Law. Have a good morning. Bye-bye.
Kupata Zaburi 18 mstari wa pili, dial *811 *817 hash. Mwenyezi Mungu ni mwamba wangu, ngome yangu na mkombozi wangu. Mungu wangu, mwamba wangu ninayemkimbilia ninapohitaji kuwa salama. Zaburi 18 mstari wa pili. Zaburi 18 mstari wa pili, dial *811